Fantastic. Nick, welcome to the Business Advisory Show.
Thank you.
And welcome to Australia as well.
Thank you. We've been here 48 hours from Scotland. Yeah. So it was a big, long flight over here. It's my second time in Australia. The last time I was here was like 17 years ago. So it's really good to be back.
The good news is you're only a few days away. You'll be able to get down to Melbourne and it'll feel just like home.
I'm looking forward to going down to Melbourne, actually. It was difficult packing for 30 degrees and 13 degrees, but I'm looking forward. I've got some friends in Melbourne, so I'm excited to go down there too.
Fantastic. So, Business Advisory Show, it's all about helping accountants and bookkeepers become better business advisors.
Yeah.
Tell us about this product of yours.
Yeah, so Float. Float's actually been around for a while. We won the Best Emerging App at XeroCon in Brisbane in 2014. Right. So it's a well-established app. We've got over 200 five-star reviews on the Xero marketplace. Wow. So what Float is it's a cash flow forecasting application, but it's really more than that. The way that Float sort of goes about things is that it's a real-time cash flow app. So it's not a profit and loss oriented app. We use bills and invoices. So we sync directly with Xero and QBO as well, actually, to pull all of the chart accounts, the bills, the invoices into Float. And the idea behind Float is that it gives you a real-time view of the cash of a business. So we've been selling, and we've got a large customer base globally of small, medium enterprises all over the world, different types of business. But increasingly now we're speaking to accountants to sort of evangelize where we feel Float can provide value to them and their clients. So the idea behind Float is that it's like a window into your numbers. A lot of businesses, I've run businesses before. My background is running marketing agencies. I outsourced, like we decided to outsource all of our finance function in the last agency that I was running. And it was honestly, it was quite epiphanal. Our FD was using a bunch of spreadsheets. We had no visibility of our numbers, and actually, we then used Xero, the accountant that we outsourced to. Really opened up my eyes to what was happening within the world of accounting. The real-time view of numbers just made me able to run my business better, and the advice that I got from my accountant began actually with which software packages I should use to make our lives easier. And not after that. I don't want to be going and looking at whether I should be using Xero. Like, actually, my accountant came and said, look, this is what you should be using. You should be using this. You should be using that. And this is going to save you time. It's going to make you able to make better decisions about the future of the business. And he was right. And that was really meaningful. So I think, it's very, very important to business owners that they have someone that they can trust, that is going to be proactive with their advice. They're not just going to come and give you a management report every month, which looks backwards. The idea about Float is that actually what's really meaningful for a business owner, having been in that situation, is understanding what has happened is fine, but really what I want to know is what is going to happen. Yeah. I want to know what's going to happen in the future for my business. I want to be able to think about the what ifs of business, and that's, certainly in my experience, is what I was thinking constantly. Like, what if we win that client? What if we lose that client? What if I hire a new person? And Float enables you to model all of this out. You can build scenarios, you can compare scenarios, and it's all with real-time, actual, live bills and invoices data that's coming in from Xero.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what's the initial reaction that you're finding from bookkeepers and accountants when they start to understand the power of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a little bit of work to do with cash flow forecasting. Yeah. I think the word forecasting, by definition, you don't forecast very often. It's not something you're doing every day. Yeah. So Float sort of historically has described itself as cash flow forecasting software, and what that is bred is a little bit of, I've got 100 clients, and actually I've got 3 of those clients could really use Float. Well, why those 3 clients? Well, it's because they're in trouble. they've got cash flow problems, so they historically maybe have seen Float or other applications as like a firefighting tool, whereas the real beauty of Float is, it's, as I've said, it's like that dashboard. It's a window into how your business is doing, and if you're using Float across your portfolio of businesses, the idea is that you shouldn't have those 3 clients who get to a point where they're in trouble, because Float enables them to see that down the line. You can see down the road, you can see what's coming, you can model this out, you can have conversations with your advisor to stop that happening. And I think Float's a really, like, we've got partners who definitely use Float with their clients. It's really easy to use. It's really intuitive piece of software. It's not designed for accountants. It's actually designed for the business owner to be able to understand. And we've seen really powerful relationships with the accounting advisor and the business owner, where they can use Float as that interface into their business.
Yeah, that sounds exciting, because one of the real issues for accountants and bookkeepers is having the confidence to, and I spoke about it a moment ago, having the self-confidence to step up and have an opinion, disrupt the thought pattern of the client. Sure. But if the product does, the system does that for them, right?
It really facilitates that, I think. And I'm sort of thinking back to the accountant that we hired in my previous agency. And I think what was really good there, and why we really liked him and his firm, was that he wasn't afraid to provide us with proactive advice.
Yeah.
And most business owners don't know everything. We're not accountants. We can't see things coming. We're immersed in the day-to-day of what we're doing within our business, whether it's a plumber or a dentist or an advertising agency. Yeah. Actually, we're not financial experts, most people who start those businesses, so we need that advice. We want that advice. Certainly at Float, I know, speaking to Colin, who's the founder of Float, our experience of accountants has been mixed. Yeah. Actually, we've changed accounting firm a few times because we just weren't really satisfied with the amount of proactive advice that we were getting. It was very business as usual. Here's your end of year account. We'll have a meeting once a quarter if you're lucky. It might be on the telephone. And we weren't necessarily confident that they understood what we were doing and why we were doing it.
Yeah, it's not really following you into your business. No. They're really just delivering a compliance-based, tax-related process, right?
And that's fine. Yeah. I agree with one of the previous speakers at the event that we're at, in that compliance isn't going anywhere. We still need people to provide us with what is legally required. But the exciting part, and why I really got into this space, I was working with a big international accounting firm, and then I really started experiencing cloud accounting, and it was a bit of a revelation to me in terms of what's happening in this space. And I think it's quite rare that you get an industry as age-old as accounting that's really been disrupted to the level that it is. And I think you've got 2 choices, right? I think this is happening. Business owners right now who are starting businesses now, they know cloud. They're not going to go and look at desktop applications like a young business owner. So I think you can think about the clients that you've got now, but really what you should be thinking about is how I can help those guys with technology, but also then attract my customers of tomorrow. Yeah. And if you're not really embracing Xero and the whole sort of app ecosystem around there, then honestly, you're missing a trick.
Yeah. Because that is the wave of the future. So how do you have an intergenerational client base? You've clearly got to be using the tech that the generations are using.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I sat in a meeting with a really big international firm, top 10 global firm, maybe 6 months ago. And one of the senior managers that they'd just hired was in this meeting. And she said to me, I think she was completely right. She said to me, well, look, I'm not really here to think about what our existing clients want and need. I'm here to think about what our clients of the future expect. And there's a difference in the word expect versus want, because actually people who are starting businesses now, they will expect you to be on top of this stuff. they're not going to want that sort of old school approach. They're going to want you to understand what you can provide in terms of that, using apps like Float to provide better advice, to drive proactive conversations, to provide insight to enable you to sleep better at night, run better businesses, grow your businesses. And I think that's one of the things that Xero's done really, really well, is that they've understood that, okay, Xero is a great base. One of our partners is describing Xero as the financial engine of her clients' businesses.
Right.
And I think that's a really interesting approach from a Float point of view, and I really like this description. She was talking about the fact that she sees Xero as the engine. So in any good car, you don't want to be lifting up the bonnet too often. You don't want to be going into the engine too much, otherwise it's not a very good car. Yeah. So what you want is you want to be looking down the road. You want to, and if there's anything going wrong, you want warning lights on that dashboard telling you that something's going wrong. And that's how she uses Float. So she encourages her clients to use Float in that capacity, and I really like that approach. It's not oh my God, I'm in trouble at 3 of my clients. It's like, I'm going to give this to all my clients. Some of them will really get into the nitty gritty of it. Some of them will be quite happy to see the surface and be, it's better than looking at your bank account and understand how your business is doing. Yeah. Well, that's a dangerous game if you're just looking at your bank account and thinking, yeah, I've got cash in the bank, I'm fine. That's not necessarily the case. There are profitable businesses that go out of business all over the world every minute of the day. And a lot of them do so because of lack of visibility of cash flow, and that's what Float's there to help with.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, 90% of small business owners don't celebrate their 11th anniversary in the same business, right? And it's typically 66% of the time it's financial illiteracy.
Yeah, I mean, there's scary numbers out there. Yeah. And I know the reason that Colin founded Float was he was coming at it from a position of experience. He was running a business of his own. He was frustrated by his lack of visibility as to what was happening with his cash. Like, where am I? What can I do? What can't I do? What should I pay? What shouldn't I pay? And Float is really driven from that point. And we've very much made a point of making it accessible to that business owner. And now what we're doing is we're really trying to build meaningful partnerships with accountants to build almost a layer on what we've already got. We know Float it's fast, it's intuitive, it works really well, it's reliable. Reliable is not necessarily a sexy word, but when it comes to accountancy and your numbers and understanding, I need to be able to look at this and trust it and make decisions about my business, then reliability becomes pretty sexy.
Yeah. Trust me, to accountants, it's very, very sexy.
So, I think that's really important, that with any tool, with any application like Float, that you can see and understand where the numbers have come in, what that is meaning, and you can use this to actually make informed, meaningful decisions about your business. And I think that's where Float can really add value.
That sounds fantastic. I think we're going to stay tuned and keep a good eye on Float.
Yeah, thank you. So we're really excited because we're based in Scotland, so we've just flown in from Scotland. Apologies if I look terrible, but we're moving. We're opening an Australian office very soon. We're really excited to be over here. We think that the Australian marketplace and Australian businesses are ahead of everywhere in the world from a cloud point of view. We know that, we see that. We certainly are ahead of in the UK and in the US, where we also operate. So we're really excited to be here to provide the sort of level of service and support that Australian businesses and accountants need.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, well, thanks for coming on the show today.
Pleasure. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, terrific. Stay tuned for Float.